Yeah.
And our home fries on pastry dough. So we did happy birthday. God, the Most High, right, like your creator or source.
We are one, the found, the found.
Y'all, my name is Ashley-Nicole Phillips, and I am a channel for the divine. You are tuned into Magic Meals with myself, Ashley-Nicole Phillips. Within Magic Meals, we cook, we channel divine wisdoms, divine remembrances, whatever the ancestors tell us to put in the pot, the pan, the baking dish. This is what we put into the pot, the pan, the baking dish. I'm super excited. Today we are making a ratatouille and ground beef spaghetti. How did you think to make this ratatouille inspired ground beef spaghetti, Ashley? I have, give me 1 second, y'all. I have this loaf of jalapeno cheese bread from Kroger's. I got it 50% off. You know what that means? That means it was going to expire a couple days after I bought it. So I threw it in the freezer. And I was like, I need something to eat this jalapeno cheese bread with. I was scrolling on YouTube Shorts. Excuse me, y'all. I was scrolling on YouTube Shorts, and a beautiful being within the collective was making spaghetti for her family. And she was making the shorts about it. So the soul said, Ashley, make a spaghetti to go with your jalapeno cheese bread. I said, did it, done, let's do it. And I was like, I want to do like something like a lot of nutrition, nutritious qualities in it. So it's like, hey, Ashley, do like a ratatouille ground beef spaghetti and turtle guidance. We know ratatouille to be like vegetables, roasted vegetables, right? It's like a ratatouille. So we're gonna do a ratatouille inspired spaghetti, and it's all intuitive. So some movement from the soul space, heart space. I channel intuitive wisdoms, or channel wisdoms and handle frequencies within my podcast as well. I have 2 sister brother podcasts. Kingdom Things Podcast with Ashley-Nicole Phillips is available to stream on YouTube and Spotify. Subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell to join the Kingdom Things Podcast with myself, Ashley-Nicole Phillips' journey as we all awaken and remember to the fact that we're limitless, infinite. We've always been limitless, infinite. Our time of perceiving ourselves as finite or being in a throng of frequencies in which we manifested in a linear space-time paradigm that had an illusionary separation from the infinite or from the divine or from Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High, the infinite dimensions within and beyond. Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High was a part of the makings of us, a phase in our evolution, or the phase in the evolution of God, Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High, the infinite dimensions within and beyond. God, Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High. We're all awakening from the inner and outer space, having consciousness expansion, cellular DNA, genome activation. Do not replace your professional medical advice with anything you experience within here, Magic Meals, Ashley-Nicole Phillips, or any of my content. We're awakening, we're remembering, and this manifests in infinite ways, including coming online to our extrasensory perception, or our multidimensionality, or our psychic abilities, or our soul gifts. Which brings me to my call to action. Sit with yourself every day. Ask yourself, hey soul, hey self, what is it that I need to know to come into greater conscious awareness, as well as greater conscious embodiment of our limitless potentials? We say our because we're evolving, awakening, remembering through our genome, DNA, cellular faculties, energetic manifestation into celestial galactic oneness, unity, Christ consciousness, or the remembrance that we are infinite dimensions and we are one in our infinite dimensions. No longer fighting and warring over our infinite dimensions or infinite differences, but learning and growing from our infinite dimensions, infinite differences to come into greater conscious awareness, greater conscious embodiment of how we are infinite. Come into greater conscious awareness of our existential fundamental nature. Sit with yourself every day. Ask yourself, hey soul, hey self, what is it that I need to know to come into greater conscious awareness as well as greater conscious embodiment of our limitless infinite potentials? Wait for the answers because they will come. And remember, whenever and remembering into the fact, whenever we remember anything through our inner space, we are not an origin point, but we are dimensions of the collective or dimensions of the infinite. Being open to harmonize our infinite collective nature with the remembrance that we are family, we are ancestry. No longer warring over our family, our ancestry, our differences, but finding harmony, wellness, balance, comfort, and the fact that we are energy of consanguinity, or ancestral energy manifested in infinite ways, being the unconditional love in which we've always only been. The understanding that principle of correspondence, as below, so above, everything in our reality is a manifestation of our one energy, in which manifests in infinite ways. We most commonly call this one energy God, Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High, the infinite dimensions within and beyond. God, Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High, garnering the wisdoms from the infinite ways in which our energy manifests. Okay, so what is this in our reality? My reality trying to teach me about myself, these self. Being compassionate with ourselves, these self. If we experience or perceive things in our reality that are less than wellness, less than balance, dropping in our heart space, hey soul, hey self, what is this trying to teach us about our energy, about our evolution, about our existence? Waiting for the wisdoms, embodying the wisdoms, practicing the wisdoms to emanate frequencies of remedy so we no longer perpetuate imbalances. Which brings me to my 2033 prophecy. By the year 2033, the divine, the Most High, all things say, hey, infinite energies having celestial beings of the cosmos within y'all's ascension cycle, y'all's parallel reality that's one with infinite parallel realities within your universe that's one with infinite universe. It's time for y'all to awaken and arise and remember that you've always only been infinite. You're actually projections of infinite dimensions of this self, of yourself, into your everyday, every present moment, to mirror back to the divine or the self, or the infinite, God, Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High, the infinite dimensions within and beyond, God, Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High, different dimensions of itself, facets of itself. For divine, Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High, the infinite dimensions within and beyond, God, Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High, to learn about itself, from itself, or the way we manifest in every moment. We see things in our reality that we don't like, we don't love, we don't want more of, we don't want to perpetuate. Ask ourselves, hey soul, hey self, what is this trying to teach us about ourselves? Wait for the answers because they will come. Your lingo with the universe is most likely unique to yourself. Meaning what? It might not be the way you communicate with the universe or the self might not be a standard psychic ability, mediumship, channeling ability. It might be more of a synesthesia where it's many multidimensional faculties. More the more you get the message, more the more you get the wisdoms, more the more validate yourself. So that we become more comfortable to unfurl, blossom back into our infinite divine nature in which we've always only truly been. Again, our time of seeing separation from ourself and the infinite was a gestational phase, part of the makers of us. 2033 prophecy, we will be, by year 2033, we will be in a state of consciousness expansion, genome, DNA activation, spiritual awakening, to understand that we are infinite energies, having celestial beings of the cosmos of God's creation experience, with no death, no disease, no war, no famine, no peace, no poverty, no pedophilia, no sex trafficking, no being trafficking. As death, disease, war, famine, poverty, pedophilia, sex trafficking, being trafficking was when we were mirroring back to the divine dimensions of itself, for the divine to garner wisdoms from these dimensions of itself, to no longer perpetuate these imbalances, but to be the wisdoms from the imbalances. We no longer have to mirror back the imbalances. We can be the wisdoms from the imbalances. Hey, soul, hey, self, what was death, disease, war, famine, poverty, pedophilia, sex trafficking, being trafficking, trying to teach me about myself, the self, the divine, truly synonymous, waiting for the wisdoms, the answers, because they will come, they shall come. Embodying, being, practicing the wisdoms to be frequencies of wellness, divine evolution, and remembrance. Again, my podcast, Kingdom Things Podcast with Ashley-Nicole Phillips, is available stream on YouTube and Spotify. Channel Ancestral Wisdoms, Remembrances, a lot like we're doing here and now within Magic Mills. And then Oneness Connection, Energetic Upliftment, my sister brother podcast, Channel Healing Wisdoms and Messages. We get deeper into topics, different topics of our celestial and beyond existence, existential fundamentals of nature, healing frequencies in the podcast. Link below, subscribe, follow, to join my podcast journey as we all awaken and remember that we are infinite, we are wellness, we are balance. All right, y'all. I'm gonna move the camera angle. Be right back in just a beat. And we're gonna get to chopping up our vegetables for our ratatouille inspired ground beef spaghetti. Spaghetti, all is well. I got a little migraine coming on. All that beautiful existential fundamental nature wisdoms we were just channeling. All those healing frequencies. Still, all is well. Again, do not replace your professional medical advice with anything you experience within here Magic Mills or any of my content. All right, so first we have our yellow squash, and we are gonna dice our yellow squash for the ratatouille element of our ratatouille inspired ground beef spaghetti. We're gonna keep all of the skin on. Intuitive guidance is like, so the squash holds its form. And it doesn't just dissolve everywhere. Keeping all of the skin on of our squash. Normally when I prepare squash, I'll peel or skin some of the skin off. We're gonna keep all the skin on. Again, we're just doing a diced format. So first we're starting with cutting this way, and then we're gonna turn our squash. Cut it in thirds and then cut the thirds in half. And then I have my bowl, my vegetables. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the diced pieces back into the bowl. Halves, thirds, halves. I just got done channeling a pretty, a beautiful significant rendition edition of Kingdom Things podcast, where the frequencies or the wisdoms from the experience of the manifestation of Jeffrey Epstein. I channeled the frequencies, the wisdoms from the experience, wisdoms and frequencies garnered from the manifestation that is Jeffrey Epstein in the podcast. I also channeled, by the time this is posted, it's going to be available to stream, so I'll link it in the description of this Magic Meals installment. In this episode, I also channeled Rabbi Yeshua, most commonly known as Jesus Christ, as well as Tahuti, as well as the ancestral force, the Rebbe, or Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson. I channeled them in the podcast as well. It's about growing and evolving, awakening, the genome, DNA, consciousness, expansion to remembrance that we are one. We are the divine evolution, one in our infinite manifestations. We are more the divine evolution. The infinite dimensions within and beyond. God, Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High. Garnering the wisdoms for every way that the divine manifests, including Jeffrey Epstein, to be the wisdoms, to be the wellness from the infinite ways in which the divine manifests, in which we manifest and be and exist. So link below, the Kingdom Things podcast installment, this Kingdom Things podcast installment. It's been a journey of evolving and following the heart and soul space to acclimate to the frequencies that are the remembrance that we are one in the divine. We are the divine evolution. There's infinite dimensions to the makers of us, infinite dimensions to our existential fundamental nature. Again, pray, meditate, ask your soul, hey soul, what is it that I need to know to come into greater conscious awareness, greater conscious embodiment of my limitless wellness, balance potentials, or be the medicine that you exist to be. To be the frequencies of remembrance of our existential fundamental nature, of our unity, of our balance, of our wellness that you exist to be, that we exist to be. Journeying inward to let the soul teach and remember. You remember us into our wellness, our balance, and our infinite dimensions. All right, so we have our yellow squash chopped up. So we're doing yellow squash and green squash. You know, our green squash or zucchini squash, formerly known as zucchini squash, chopped up, keeping the skin on. Be washed more thoroughly. Let me get my vinegar. Give me a second, y'all, to wash this one thoroughly. Just give me squash. Give me 1 second. In this journey, this process and journey inward, consulting and being taught and grown and remembered back into our infinite, harmonious, celestial, galactic, Christ consciousness nature, it is a journey of remembering and embodying the fact that we're all universal mothers, universal fathers. We procreate, co-create the evolution of all things, in the way that we be, exist, grow, and evolve. I actually channeled within my podcast, Oneness Connection, Energetic Upliftment, an installment that I'll link in below in the description of this video. I channeled about how we're all universal mothers and fathers, cosmic remembrance of our universal mother, father nature, the responsibilities we have as existence, or as the divine in evolution, or as universal mothers and fathers. My soul's like, hey, Ashley, are you a mother? And I was like, through the inner space just now, it's like, Ashley, share this. Okay, let me share it. I'm as far as a mother to biological offspring, I know this is written in my story. Like, I'm destined for this. And I told the divine, the soul told me through the journeying inwardly and being grown and raised and taught and remembered by the soul space, living zealotry or seeking God within all things, being inquisitive. Hey soul, what was this trying to teach me about myself, thee self? I've been taught, and I shared within the podcast. I actually linked the episode below, Kingdom Things podcast. I channeled the druids, the ancestral forces, the druids. And in this installment, I was channeling, and the soul was like, whenever the universe is actually need you to be a wife, a mother, trust and believe it's going to happen whenever it's needed in universal orchestration. Every way that we show up is because the universe is needing us to be in this dimension of ourselves to procreate, co-create the evolution of all beings, all things. So link below in the description of this Magic Meals installment, the Oneness Connection, Energetic Upliftment installment, Universal Mothers and Fathers, as well as the Kingdom Things podcast with Ashley-Nicole Phillips installment, where I channeled the druids and I channeled these wisdoms about, whenever we show up, whenever we manifest, however we manifest, it's because it's a universal ordering to assist with the growth and evolution of all beings, all things. Or God, Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High, the infinite dimensions within and beyond. God, Allah, Shekinah, Prime Source, Hashem, Brahman, the Most High. So we're finishing up chopping up our zucchini squash. We did our zucchini squash in quarters because it is a spelter gourd. It's not as thick as the yellow squash, so we just quartered our zucchini squash here. And then, this is again our ratatouille element of our ratatouille ground beef, ratatouille inspired ground beef spaghetti. And then we also have our Roma tomatoes. We're gonna go ahead and cut the ends off, get as close to the end as possible so we don't waste any tomato. Chopping off our ends. And our tomato is gonna be a little bit thicker cut than our squash, both our zucchini and yellow squash, for the simple fact that tomato is a lot of water, so it'll break down and dissolve easier, and we don't want our tomato to just fall apart. Now we are gonna cook our squash in the pan before we add our Roma tomato, just to make sure that our Roma tomato doesn't completely dissolve in the ratatouille element of our ratatouille inspired ground beef spaghetti. So we're just doing pretty thick slices and then slicing the slices into quarters here. I'm gonna bring the plate up closer so y'all can see the cuts on our aroma tomato. We just dice it like in this manner, halves and then quarters out of our, or slices, pretty thick slices, and then quarters out of the slices. Gonna go ahead and add the tomato in the bowl with our, actually, we just channeled it. We just said we're gonna cook the tomatoes separately. So we'll keep the tomato on the plate. We won't add the tomatoes with our squash. Let's get our second and last whole Roma tomato. It's all intuitive guidance. I just spoke it. Hey, cook the tomatoes separately, so we're not gonna add our Roma in the bowl. Just slices, listening to the soul guidance. Slices here, as every time we communicate, we think, we be, is soul guidance. Our pondering, our epiphanies, our thoughts is soul guidance, or the manifestation of our every now moment, which is the divine or energy we know as energy, reflecting, refracting, manifesting, to manifest our every moment from 0 point or the quantum field, as we know through our sciences, our physics. 0 point, the quantum field, infinite possibilities, or the divine made manifest in our every moment, made perceptive in our every moment. And then we know through our sciences, there are so many dimensions in the light spectrum in which we don't perceive through our touch, taste, sight, smell, hearing. Getting quiet, that's where our ESP, extrasensory perception, psychic abilities, mediumship, soul gifts come in, and fostering those by getting quiet, spending time in prayer and meditation to hear the soul or hear the subtle realms, following the soul or subtle guidance to come into greater conscious awareness, greater conscious embodiment of the limitless wellness, balance, potentials in which we've always only been. All right, y'all, we're gonna take our squash back to our pan. First, we're gonna turn our pan on front burner, have a nice size saucepan. I'm actually gonna give y'all an over the stove view. All right, y'all, so we're gonna put some oil. We have us over at the stove. Give us a stove view. We're putting oil in the bottom of our pan, just a tidget smidget. I'm using vegetable oil. That's what I have on hand. Use whatever oil you would like. We're gonna go ahead and get added in our pan. I actually have a 3 pepper and onion blend, Kroger's blend, frozen blend. I'm gonna add this 3 pepper and onions blend in here. And then I'm gonna get a little bit more added. Tidget more. A bit more in here. That's good. Let me get our utensil. A wooden spatula deal. So we have, again, this is from the Kroger's frozen vegetable aisle, 3 pepper and onion blends. If you want to chop up your onions and peppers, fresh produce, do this. If you don't want to add onions and peppers at all, you don't have to, just don't add any onions or peppers. Whatever you feel guided to do this. So we have these in the pan. Let's go ahead and get our yellow squash, zucchini squash mixture in here. Everything smells so good. As soon as we put the onions and peppers in the pan, The oil, you can definitely smell the deliciousness. We're not going to add any seasoning to our vegetables yet. Any more seasoning. We have the flavor from the onions and the peppers. We're not going to add any more seasoning as of yet. When I went into the pantry to get the oil, I have chili seasoning on hand from the turkey chili recipe we did in Magic Mills. I actually use it as a podcast offering for Oneness Connection Energetic Upliftment. It's going to make it over to the Magic Mills catalog shortly, if it's not already there, already here. We did a turkey and bean chili. I had some leftover chili seasoning, and which we'll be using for the spaghetti recipe. When I went into the pantry to get the oil, I was like, ooh, what is that going to taste like if we season our ground beef with this chili seasoning for our spaghetti? Intuitive guidance, use it. Like, that's what we're gonna do. So that epiphany, oh, what if we did this? Use the chili seasoning. It was actually soul guidance, ancestral guidance. I was like, I don't know how this is gonna taste. The soul was like, Ashley, it was always intended. Just trust it and believe it's gonna taste delicious. Will it into existence. Delicious tasting, ratatouille inspired ground beef spaghetti using chili seasoning in your ground beef. So we're not going to say all that to say, share all this to say what I said, as well as lending credence to the fact that we're not going to add any seasoning to our vegetables here. So we have our vegetables stewing. We're actually going to go ahead and get the lid on our vegetables. And this is our ratatouille element. To our ratatouille ground beef spaghetti. We're now going to prepare the ground beef element while our ratatouille element is stewing on the stove. Low heat, low heat, just get a slow stew of our peppers, onions, squash, yellow squash, zucchini squash. We're going to go ahead and on the other burner do our ground beef element. Now I'm using a Angus beef ground chuck, 80% lean, 20% fat, ground beef mixture. Use whatever ground beef cut, lean fat ratio you would like. Let's go back to the stove. So we're gonna scoot up just a little bit, pinch. Do a little bit of vegetable oil in the bottom of the pan. Again, use whatever type of oil you would like or whatever you have on hand. And then we're gonna get parts of me want to add the peppers and onions in the pan, and parts of me don't. Let's stir this up. So we have the oil in the bottom of the pan. Oh, it smells so delicious. So we're not gonna do, it's per preference, whatever you feel intuitively guided to do. I'm not gonna do any onions or pepper mixture in the bottom of the pan for our ground beef. If you wanna do that, go ahead and do that, it's perfectly fine. I'm just gonna do the oil in the bottom of the pan for the ground beef. And we're gonna toss in our ground beef mixture here. We don't want to get it everywhere. Toss in our ground beef. We do have the. Let me wash my hands, y'all. Touching raw meat, gotta wash the hands. Touching raw meat, gotta wash the hands. Y'all watch the beef for me. All right, y'all. Let me get my cooking utensil for our beef while I'm drying my hands over here. All right, so we have our beef here. Gonna go ahead and get this broken down into the pan. So we get nicely prepared, nicely cooked ground beef for our ratatouille ground beef spaghetti sauce. Spaghetti sauce. All right. Let's get this cooked down a bit, and then we're gonna add our seasoning again in the pantry from our ground turkey bean chili recipe. I had some leftover chili seasoning, quite a bit I need to use. The soul said, Ashley, use this to season your ground beef for the spaghetti. This is what we're gonna do. Use whatever seasonings you would like for your ground beef. If you choose to do a ground chicken or ground turkey, do this, or tofu, whatever other protein other than the vegetables in which you're using for our ratatouille inspired spaghetti, protein spaghetti. Do this. Myself, I'm using ground beef. So, getting this cooked up in here nicely. Again, I just put a thin layer of oil, a little vegetable oil. If you decide to put onions, garlic, peppers in here as well, do so. I just really wanted to use, I did grocery shop for these groceries. I also just wanted to use what I had on hand, things that I haven't used yet. So i.e. the chili powder. And I'm excited to see how it tastes in our spaghetti sauce. Now we are doing a spaghetti sauce semi from scratch, a red sauce semi from scratch. And I'm excited to do it in this episode because I've done a Magic Meals shorts. So if you go to the shorts section of Magic Meals with Ashley-Nicole Phillips on YouTube, in my shorts, I did the 60-second meal editions. And I did, no, it's not in the 60 seconds. It was gonna be, this tomato sauce was gonna be in the 60 seconds. But I just made it a fuller length video. Like it ended up being 6 minutes, where I made a pasta dish, a red pasta sauce, super quickly, and it tastes so delicious. Like it had been stewed on the stove for hours. When in all actuality, it was a super quick process in which we're gonna do in this Magic Meals episode. We're gonna get to it shortly, and I'm excited. I know this is a collective hack, a collective pasta sauce hack, because I've seen it in other places, which is really cool. Since I've prepared it this way, which is really cool. Anytime we have a thought, inclination, or we're doing anything, it's a collective thought, a collective inclination, a collective happening. Yeah, which is exciting. It's super exciting. And we're keeping the fire on low, cooking our ground beef. We're being patient. We have our ratatouille vegetable mix on low as well. Ratatouille inspired vegetable mix on low as well. It's actually a French way to cook, a very Francais way to cook. Low heat, just let everything stew slowly. Cook and stew slowly. Not confit, but there's another term in Francais. In French, it's a French cooking method where you cook slowly. You slowly cook things. Not confit, it's another one. another term. If I find it, I'll post it right here. Link it right here. We just let everything cook slowly. Slow and low. Slow and low. I'm gonna cook this for a couple more minutes. Let it get a little bit browner, and then we're gonna add our chili seasoning in here. Oh, you can tell it has that 20% fat because it's pretty oily. And that's what we're gonna do, y'all. We're gonna leave the oil in there. Some extra seasonings. Some extra seasoning. This is 80% lean ground chuck, 20% fat. And you could tell. You can tell. You can tell. Now I've prayed about whether or not to eat meat because I've been vegetarian vegan before. I've been vegetarian before for years, a few years. And I prayed about it, and the soul's like, you know, whatever you feel guided to do. Nothing is truly bad. Just, you know, pray, meditate, ask your soul, like, why it is that you're attracted to do certain things, eat certain things. You know, whatever it is, ask your soul why you feel it, why you're attracted to it, why you're doing this, why you're doing that. And let the soul give you the wisdoms. Be the wisdoms, being the conscious awareness as to why we're showing up. So why are we doing the beef, the ground chuck? Let the remembrance come in. Stop doing it because in a lot of Indian cultures, eating cows are sacred. So I wasn't eating meat for a long time. A lot of cultures, like in India, cows are sacred. Got it. That is true. This is true. Started eating it again. And there's infinite reasons as to why. We get to grow and evolve with our whys or our awareness in regards to how we show up when we show up, as we show up. You're welcome, thank you. Yes, and thank you. The soul said message, yes, and thank you. Truly. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get our chili sauce or chili powder added here. Definitely want our meat well done. That's just my preference. You cook your meat however you would like to. Whatever temperature, whatever fashion you would like to. Whatever fashion. Okay, so I'm using original chili seasoning mix that I had on hand. We already talked about it much, channeled about it much. We're gonna go ahead and add this, and that's enough. That's enough. Add this in our ground beef seasoning. And this does have a lot of seasonings that would typically go in ground beef. We have our chili and chili peppers and other spices, onions, salt, garlic, paprika. So, you know, it has a lot of seasonings we would already add in the ground beef. All right, so just getting this mixed together. And if you would like to drain some of the beef drippings out, be my guest. Do this if that's what you're called to do. Myself, I'm definitely gonna leave them in here for some extra seasoning flavor. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the fire off of our spaghetti, or our ground beef for our spaghetti pasta sauce. Just keep on because it's pretty much cooked all the way through. Keep on mixing it up. Mixing in our seasonings here as well. I heard the mentions of the collective saying this looks like cafeteria food. And you know what? Were we mad on Taco Day in the cafeteria? Were we mad about it? I don't think so. All right, let's turn off our vegetables. Ooh, they're cooked up. They're cooked well. Well. Ooh, they're cooked well. Let's just say they're cooked well. Let's go ahead. Can y'all see? Let me just lift it up a bit so y'all can see what's going on back here on the with the vegetables. I'm getting the counter over there a little bit. This is okay. We're gonna go ahead and add our aroma tomatoes in here. We're actually not gonna turn the heat back on. We're just gonna go ahead and stir in our aroma tomatoes. All is well. Now our squash, they are pretty soft. I'm a little panicked. Soul said, Ashley, all is well. Assuring me that all is well. Y'all can see it's cooked pretty well. All is well. It's all intuitive. I've never made this before. We're excited. We're optimistic. It looks delicious. I can perceive it. It's gonna be delicious. Okay, I'm just gonna put the lid back on. Put the lid back on. Ouch. Allow our tomatoes to stew in there. The fire is off, just as the fire is off on our ground beef. Now we're gonna put a lid on our ground beef and let this stew in its own heat. On oils. Let's put a lid for it. Lid on our beef. We will be cleaning the stove today. That's not a problem. Let's go back to our island counter and do our red sauce, the base for our red sauce. All right, y'all. So we're doing the base for our marinara spaghetti sauce, ratatouille ground beef spaghetti sauce. I'm super excited to show this technique. I'm gonna link the Magic Meals episode below in the reference content where I first tried this because I was wanting to do like a delicious red sauce pasta, and I was like, I looked online, it's like a lot of recipes you have to stew the tomato sauce for at least like 2-3 hours, up to 4 hours. I was overwhelmed. I was a little intimidated. And then I got into the kitchen and I got intuitively guided to get the can of tomatoes that I had in the pantry. It was actually diced tomatoes with pepper in it, bell peppers in it. And put the diced tomatoes in the blender, blend it up, put it on the pan to warm it up. Ta-da, voila, red sauce. Red sauce, pasta sauce. That's what I'm gonna do here. I did that for the first time within a Magic Meals episode. I named it something about Nona approving. Nona's approved red sauce, because you know Nona is in the Italian culture, Italian Sicilian culture. A lot of people call Italian Sicilian people, they call their grandmothers Nona. And they're always channeling. When I was making the red sauce, I'm channeling right now. We're always channeling. And I was getting the inspiration from Nona to make that red sauce, and that's what it tastes like. So that's what the Magic Meals episode is called. It's linked below in the description of this Magic Meals episode. Now for this episode, y'all, I knew we were doing this red sauce consciously when I was grocery shopping. I intuitively picked Italian style stewed tomatoes. Now use whatever type of canned tomatoes you want or you have on hand. We're gonna pour our, I'm gonna do it over the sink, y'all, just to make sure I don't splash everywhere. We're doing our, putting our canned tomato in our blender. Here. And I'm afraid that if I do both cans at the same time, it's gonna spill over. So I'm gonna do one can at a time. And we transcend the fear, but you know, I perceive if I do both cans at the same time, it's gonna spill over. So we're gonna do one can at a time. If you have a blender where your blender is large enough, you're doing 2 cans and your blender is large enough to put both cans in there without any concern for spillage, do this. So for the 1 can, I'm using the stewed Italian style tomatoes. 1 can in our blender. We're just gonna smoothly. All right, and once you see that the tomatoes have liquefied adequately, see how it's nice and liquefied, a little red sauce, we're actually gonna go ahead and pour this straight into our pan with our Ratatouille inspired vegetable mixture. Let us get a back stove shot while we pour this. All right, so we have our Ratatouille vegetable mixture. We have our tomatoes in here. We're gonna turn the fire back on low heat. We're gonna go ahead and get our first can of blended tomatoes into the pan. Just pour it on in here. Leaving all the juices from the vegetables in here. And let's get our second can. Oh, y'all. I almost poured this can of tomatoes straight into our mixture without blending, okay? So y'all about to get the blender while I blend this second can. Give me about 15 seconds, okay? Thank you. All right, here comes our second can of blended tomato sauce. For our red sauce, our ratatouille ground beef red sauce, y'all. Ooh, y'all see this? Ooh, excited. Let's go ahead and kind of fold everything together. And guess what we're gonna do, y'all? We're gonna add our ground beef in here as well. I'm nervous, excited and nervous, because I'm not gonna drain any of this, like I said earlier, I'm not gonna drain any of the flavor or the ground beef drippings. So I'm nervous. I've never made this before. This is intuitive. We're praying for wellness, deliciousness. All right, let's go ahead and do it. You know, on like Top Chef or like Iron Chef or like any cooking show, when you know you trying stuff, you know, you just being intuitive in the kitchen. Like, I don't know if it's gonna work, but we trying it. We gonna see if it's gonna work. That's what's happening right now. Right now in this moment, we're bringing our components together. And we're getting close to the finish line. We're gonna taste everything. All right, so we have our ground beef. I'm gonna trust myself. We're gonna put all of this ground beef oil drippings into here. So we are still recording, great. Getting our ground beef mixture added into our ratatouille ground beef, ratatouille inspired ground beef pasta sauce, spaghetti sauce. Oh my goodness, I'm excited. Excitement. Excitamento. Get every little bit. All the little bits and scrapes and scrimps and crumbs. No ground beef left behind. All right, this is great. That's good. This is great. Okay, cool. Okay. Let's just fold our ground beef in here. Actually, y'all, whoa, this is great. I feel it energetically. I'm getting foresight that this is delicious. It's gonna be delicious. It is delicious. Let's get everything folded, incorporate it together. Our ground beef, the oils from our ground beef drippings, our tomato red sauce blend, our ratatouille inspired vegetable blend, cooked vegetables in here. Nervous, excited, nervous. We have it again on the lowest heat because we're gonna let this simmer for a few minutes. Let's just get everything incorporated, stirred. Y'all, we're cooking. We're cooking. We've cooked. Whoa. Look at that, y'all. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Let's get our lid back on here. Let this simmer for a few minutes. While this is simmering, it smells so delicious. It smells fresh, smells home cooked as it is. While this is simmering, we're gonna get our spaghetti pasta on the back burner. Let me get the water in the pot. I'm using traditional spaghetti pasta. Use whatever kind of pasta you would like. Traditional spaghetti. And again, I've apologized to our Italian-born collective members. Italian-born and raised collective members. We're all truly one. And then we have, members of the collectives, manifestations of the divine. Where their ancestral tree in this direct linear space-time experience says that they're Italian, Sicilian, all these things. I've apologized to y'all for breaking my pasta. Because I'm about to break this spaghetti pasta, put it off in the pot. Now, I'm only going to make enough. I'm only going to cook a little bit of this pasta to eat for tonight. And I'm gonna cook the pasta fresh every night because I'm gonna be eating this pasta sauce for the next few days, and I'll probably freeze whatever I don't eat over the next 3 days. So I'm only gonna use enough. I'm gonna make enough pasta for tonight's dinner. Excuse me while I break it. I apologize, Italian Sicilian born members of the collective, and anybody else that might be offended by me breaking this pasta. Watch your ears. Watch your ears, okay? Because here it goes. The breaking of the pasta. The breaking of the pasta. Just over the back burner. Again, I just have a pot of water on the back burner. Excuse me, y'all. Watch your ears. Pasta. Our pasta, spaghetti pasta. We put the lid on there. Give our pasta a few minutes to boil. Same synonymously, allowing our pasta, our ratatouille inspired ground beef spaghetti sauce, allow it to simmer. When we come back, y'all, we're gonna be tasting. We're gonna be tasting. our final taste. Look at it. Thumbnail. Our ratatouille ground beef spaghetti. Thank y'all so much for sticking around. For this whole Magic Mills rendition edition, ratatouille inspired ground beef spaghetti. A cool, healthier spin on spaghetti. Interesting, culinarily inclined spin on spaghetti. You know, kind of out the box a bit, spin on spaghetti, for myself at least. A new experience for myself preparing this spaghetti. Before we taste, again, we talked about my podcast, Kingdom Things Podcast with Ashley-Nicole Phillips, which is available to stream for free on YouTube and Spotify, where I channel healing frequencies and messages to assist us. We're all awakening into the remembrance that we've always only been one with the divine. We've always only been infinite in our every moment, in our every now moment, in our evolution. My podcast, Oneness Connection Energetic Upliftment Sister Brother Podcast, is available to stream for free on YouTube. Subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell for both of my podcasts. I do much of the same within Oneness Connection Energetic Upliftment Powwow sessions, so we deep dive the inner space to grow and evolve our humanism, our galactic and beyond heritage into vibrations that are one and harmonious with our infinite, limitless, wellness, balanced nature. I also have a catalog of music where, you know, I've healed through the inner space and channel music, sharing healing frequencies and wisdoms in my music. I haven't always consciously done this, so you can see the evolution of myself within my music catalog. Ashley-Nicole Music is available to stream for free on YouTube. Over there, you'll also find my live series, Out of the Box. It's analogous to what we're all going through in this moment. Awakening within the dream to the remembrance that we are limitless. Out of the Box, go to the playlist section, Ashley-Nicole Music on YouTube, you'll see Out of the Box. I also do community lives, my personal Facebook account. You can follow my personal Facebook account. It's actually linked below to catch my community lives. I go live, whatever the ancestors, soul, universal forces, which are one with us, want me to channel speak about. That's what we channel speak about, to help heal our human and beyond, into remembrance of our harmonious celestial galactic unity Christ consciousness, or oneness in our infinite dimensions, our infinite evolution. I'm also an author. I actually channeled the Unconditional Love Literature Parcel. It is a 3-part book series. The first 2 books, coming on the story of Asiyah, followed by the story of Asiyah, I'm Home. It's been a part of my awakening journey. My soul's like, hey, Ashley, we want to help remember you into who you truly are in a wider scale understanding. And remembering who we are in a wider scale understanding is an infinite journey. That's where I channeled the Unconditional Love Literature Parcel. The first book, coming on the story of Asiyah, again, followed by the second book, the story of Asiyah, I'm Home. Asiyah is a teenage girl growing up in a New York City foster care system. She's catalyzed onto her spiritual awakening journey when she meets her twin flame Chase in the hallway of her school, Manhattan Prep. She goes through a lot of experiences in which help grow and evolve her consciousness, her spirituality, into remembrance, her genome DNA, into remembrance that she's one with all beings, all things, and all beings, all things are one with the divine. The third part of the Unconditional Love Literature Parcel is My Other Half. My Other Half is a twin flame divine counterpart journey back home to God inside, God which is in all things, God which is all things. One soul manifests as 2 human beings of planet Earth over many eras or many dimensions of our linear space-time paradigm, which has always been one with the infinite. They know they're supposed to co-create a love and a life together. 4 love stories in 1 book. They will co-create a love and a life together. Which lifetime under which circumstances the books are prophetic. The Unconditional Love Literature Parcel is available to purchase in the Amazon bookstore. If you're doing digital downloads, it's 3 separate downloads, $9.99 plus tax for each download, so $29.97 plus tax for the Unconditional Love Literature Parcel in its entirety. If you're doing paperback copies mailed to your home, it's 2 paperback bindings. Asiyah story, the first 2 books, coming on the story of Asiyah, followed by the story of Asiyah, I'm Home, is $1 binding. The 3rd book, My Other Half, is in a separate binding. Paperback bindings, the first 2 bindings, Asiyah story, $19.99 plus tax. The 3rd book, the 2nd binding, $9.99 plus tax. More, $29.98 plus tax, plus shipping and handling for the Unconditional Love Literature Parcel. Again, 2 paperback bindings mailed to your home, 3 books, 3 stories, 1 parcel, Unconditional Love Literature Parcel. You're also able to listen to the first 2 books, coming on the story of Asiyah, as well as the story of Asiyah, I'm Home, audiobook style within the Kingdom Things Podcast with Ashley-Nicole Phillips YouTube catalog. Link below in the description of this Magic Mills Rendition Edition. Last but certainly not least, I have an animated series in which I channel. Asiyah's Story, the animated series, is available to stream on my YouTube authors channel. AP Short Stories on YouTube, link below. Grow and Evolve, channel awareness in which I'm guided to channel and share within the animated series. Available to stream for free. Again, AP Short Stories, link below. We're about to roll into an episode of Asiyah's Story, as well as an episode of Out of the Box. Let's taste, for the first time, myself tasting for the first time, our ratatouille ground beef spaghetti. Let's get all the elements on the fork. We have our ground beef, a little bit of our squash. Amaza, amazing. Amaza, delicious. Wow. Let's try it again. Another bite. Choosing, I did the chili powder seasoning on the ground beef. Seasoned really well. And it's seasoned like in a light way, so you can taste the sweetness from the tomatoes, from our aroma. Tomatoes. Y'all. And then our beef, that 20% fat, 80% lean. It's really delicious. However you choose to do it. I'm really surprised. I'm excited. I was nervous. This is really delicious. I hope you try the recipe at home. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the process of preparing it. I hope you enjoy the way it tastes. Spitting everywhere. I love you, loving yourself. Self-love is the best love because you have to love yourself in the way in which you want your reality to love you back. Self-love is the best love because you are loving your truth. Choose good love to yourself first. Self-love is the best love because it helps us embody, be our limitless potentials more consciously. We'll see y'all later. Bye. Oh, and I didn't add any cheese to the dish because, again, y'all have my jalapeno cheese toast, so I didn't want to add too much cheese. But definitely, by all means, if you're not doing cheese bread on the side, or even if you are, adding Parmesan cheese would probably elevate this even more. I'll see you later. Bye.
Between me and you, life is all that it's cracked up to be. Taking my dark moments with as much gratitude as I do my light, I'm able to perceive a wider scope of who I am. I'm able to perceive more of my multidimensionality.
Which is available on Amazon books, in the Amazon bookstore. Coming home this way, my book. I wrote palm frites into my book. It's a restaurant in NYC. My book, Coming on the Story of Asiyah, followed by the story of Asiyah, I'm Home, is available in the Amazon bookstore. It's about what humanity is about to going through the great awakening, the great shift, where we wake up to our limitless potentials. So I wrote about palm frites in my book. I've been wanting to go to palm frites since I was a kid. I've been talking about palm frites for the last 3 months. I'm manifesting. I'm in New York City, NYC. Palm frites is 44 minutes that way if you walk, 8 minutes if you Uber, you know.
You rang? How can I assist you, dear Asiyah? Well, I'm on my flight to London, and I got a vision. Ashley-Nicole, please, Mindy, my dearest galactic ancestor, tell me what's going on here. I didn't know who else to ask about this, so I dropped into a deep meditation. And here you are. I'm always here, whenever you need me. Me and all of creation. You are a dimension of all of creation. I'm a character in a book?
Hey, my name is Asiyah, and I am an interdimensional being. I know. I just found out myself. Everything that I thought was my truth was a lie. I chose to continue this life because of the one thing that I know isn't a lie. Love.
What did you think the book of Akashic records consisted of. Just as Ashley-Nicole authored you or channeled you into creation, your co-creator, Ashley, was written into creation herself. But you reside within a reality of infinite realities. The age of unconditional love you have been assisting to bring about. You, your co-creator Ashley, and all of creation have been assisting to create, will allow for all realities, dimensions, and creations to transcend space and time, to grow, learn, and love from and with one another, as one creation, one family. Whoa. I had such a great time in London. I saw Big Ben. I ate at one of my favorite restaurants that I'd never visited before, Bacchanalia, London. I stayed at the Claremont Victoria, right around the corner from Buckingham Palace. I visited the palace as well. I also graduated into my role as an ambassador of the universe. I know. It went like this. As I was awaiting London public transit to take me 0.6 miles away from my destination, Bacchanalia, London, I got an epiphany. I once told a friend, our bodies aren't dumpsters for all of our emotions. And I was reminded that I had been holding in a lot of resentment and anger over the years for being or presenting as other than who I was, for not allowing my soul or my true authenticity to breathe. I was reminded by my ancestors that me forgetting who I was, a goddess having a human experience, was a part of the makings of me. And not only was forgetting who I am a part of the makings of me, but it was for my protection. I had to develop the skills or karmic lessons to be able to wield the power that is me, myself, my God essence, my goddess essence. All of the resentment, anger, envy, jealousy, and rage I held within, I'm now able to observe with a subjective view, an objective view, detached from the energies, and detach all people, places, and things from the thought patterns associated with this energy, in order to create new thought patterns to utilize the energy to manifest a reality that I do want, a reality of wellness, a reality for abundance for all, a reality of abundance for all. I sit here on this bench in the park whenever I need space to be with myself. Okay, how do I present this one? Other dimensions of myself, or my ancestors, shared with me that there is such a thing as a shadow government here on planet Earth. Based off of my internal work, my shadow work, my astral travel, and my learnings with my spirit guides, I have the understanding that everything in creation is multidimensional. The government is multidimensional. Our governments are multidimensional. Who are the shadows lurking behind the light, or what we can perceive in our reality? The shadow government is actually angelic beings, the all, oneness, or God, assisting with humanity's and planet Earth's ascension. everything we've experienced and everything that we will experience has served as tools for self-mastery to be able to wield our oneness, God power, in physical form here in this realm of creation called planet Earth as human beings. As we all, as individual humans, continue to align with our internal gnosis or our soul's knowings or our soul blueprint, we will continue to extinguish any remnants of the amnesiatic states in which we created out of false pretense, in which we created out of the understanding that we are abundance, in which we created out of the understanding that we are dimensions and are God, Goddess.
I'm glad we were able to pencil each other in.
Me too. You know, our missions keep us busy. Super busy.
Yeah, I know. We just have to remember where our mission starts. Internal, our soul. Where we meet, our soul.
Yes and yes. Before I get into all the juicy astral details, you like my new hairstyle?
I really do. What inspired the do?
I'm not sure. I just wanted something different. Well, different for me anyways.
I love it, Asiyah.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for our bond, our connection. My internal knowings, intuition, God inside told me a while ago that we were created with each other's most wildest dreams and possibilities in mind. I definitely believe it now. If I had any doubts before, I have less doubts now.
Do you want to talk about it?
In front of the camera?
Cut! What are you talking about, Chase? Why don't you want to talk about it on camera, Asiyah? Asiyah? Chase is talking about some things that have implications on human nature and the planet. I'm not sure if I want to talk about it on camera yet. Well, Asiyah, you signed on to be a part of a show where you divulged the journey, your spiritual alignment, to hopefully encourage others that are going through similar things as yourself. You have to tell your truth. Tell your story. It's going to be fine. Okay, Asiyah? Okay. I am a key.
I am a key.
And our union in this reality solidifies the solidarity of all of creation, the oneness of all things.
A new world. A God dream. My name is Asiyah, and I'm a teenage witch. Just kidding. I am a starseed. My story is much like humanity's story. I awakened to some pretty spectacular things about myself. Coming home, the story of Asiyah, followed by the story of Asiyah, I'm home. The book series that introduces the book. After returning from a day's trip, I have read my attempt's letter. He speaks of my father releasing him from imprisonment and the fate of death. He pleads for us to run away together. This plea is one of which I must no state to decline. My other half, available in the Amazon bookstore. I feel as though I was born here on Earth to find you. I was created to find my person. The Unconditional Love Literature Parcel, now available in the Amazon bookstore.
I am a key.
I am a key.
And our union in this reality solidifies the solidarity of all of creation, the oneness of all things.
A new world. A God dream.
My name is Ashley-Nicole. I am an ageless being. Well, I'm 31, with utilizing the paradigms of space and time as known by third-dimensional humanity to quantify my existence. My consciousness is focused primarily as Ashley-Nicole, human of planet Earth. I awakened within the dream. I am limitless existence, or energies of the infinite sea, or spirit, having infinite experiences, just in this one moment. And a gander of infinite experiences within this now moment. It appears as if I am putting my wig on in my bathroom mirror. When, in another dimension of the self, in just this past moment of infinite existence, I assisted with disarming the pardon collider to allow for the mass awakening of the human consciousness. Grand Rising Earth Dweller. Grand Rising M. And thanks again for your assistance with everything. I requested for a regular guide that I can expect to be available to assist me with settling into remembrance and mission. I'm super appreciative we've been paired to work with one another.
Remembering into multidimensionality within colonial life is a vibrant experience. I'm glad to help. How's Kingdom Things podcast going? You truly have the ether stirring into universal order, divine alignment.
For the upliftment and rejuvenation of all things. The podcast is great. I mean, I'm finally feeling the heart connection to the podcast, I suppose there's always been.
Surely.
The podcast has been an intuitive mandate that came into fruition with following my heart space and inner guidance. My mind is acclimated and excited about, well, all of this, being awakened within the dream.
We waited, love was on fire. There are you and I. My civilization's at our top was on fire. We got out of the pain. Yeah.
In our home fries, on pastry dough. So we did happy birthday. God, the Most High, right, like creator or source.
We are one, the found, the found.